Hey, hello, and welcome back. I am Debbie Peterson of Getting to Clarity, and this is another episode of Success Without Sacrifice. And today we're talking about empathy, a word that is bandied about a lot, especially in leadership. But what does it really mean, and how can it help you to be a better leader? So, tune in and we're going to dive into just that, what it is, what it isn't, and how you can improve your empathy skills. So I'm Debbie Peterson of Getting to Clarity, and all of my work is to support and advance busy women leaders to create more success in their life without having to sacrifice what is most important to them. And today we are talking about empathy. So why empathy? Empathy is how you connect with people. And the thing is that unless you're a solopreneur, you need other people. In your career, to advance in your career, to perform projects and initiatives and efforts at work. If you are in a business, you need people either as clients or customers. You need people to help you. It is such a critical skill whenever there are other people involved, but I think that it's widely misunderstood. So I want to talk about empathy and what it isn't. So, a lot of people think that empathy means that you have to be soft and squishy and that you always have to give in and that you're not focused and you're not driven or goal oriented. And that is not the truth at all. So put that away. Okay. I want to talk about what actually empathy is. Empathy is when you know that it takes all kinds of people to make the wheels go round on the bus, right? And they might not all be like you. To the best that we can, we try not to bring personal into professional and take professional home and bring it into the personal. But, we're one person. And it happens, especially when we have a lot going on. And if any year is a study in this, then, up to this point and the previous year is a prime example of that. Everything that we knew got thrown out the window. All of the ways that we knew how to work had to be rethought. And some people adjusted nicely. Other people really struggled with it. Some people still are struggling with it. And is it people that you work with? And this is why empathy is so important, because empathy is when you connect with people. Empathy is when you can get to and see where people are coming from. Even if you don't agree with it, you don't have to agree with it. It's not a matter of right and wrong, but it's just allowing yourself a glimpse into the window of another person's world and being able to identify with where they're at or how they got there. And only from that place of understanding can you really help them to evolve. Can you really help to empower them? And as a leader, in any organization, whether you are in a corporation and you're in a CEO space, or somewhere in the C-suite, or you're in management, or you're in supervising, or you have your own business and it's leading your clients, like I do in my retreats and my coaching. It's leading my clients to help them advance without the sacrifice. Even if you are in a nonprofit, volunteering your time in your own home, you lead people. And empathy is a skill that is just critical to you to be able to connect, to get the best from the people that you work with or that you are with, and also to get the best from yourself. It helps you to know that, or the people that you work with, that you see them, that you hear them, that you understand them. And that gets you something far beyond salary or benefits is ever going to give you as a leader. And that is connection, and that is loyalty. So, empathy isn't about broad sweeping gestures either. It's how you show up every single day. And sometimes, things happen that give you a choice to lean into your empathy. And I want to share a personal story with you that really drove home that message for me. Back in my corporate career, I did a lot of things behind the scene, a lot in management and business administration, investor relations. I was that person who was the person behind the person. And in one of my stretch roles, I really leaned into a leadership role for a project management role. And it was a multi-million dollar project that had been worked on for years. And we had a small staff. We had about 17 people on the staff. And I remember one morning waking up and looking outside. It's just a cold winter day, one of those days where the ice just glistens like diamonds when the sun shines on it. I've got my cup of coffee and I can see the steam coming off of it. And I remember thinking about my very first task for the day, and that was to fire 14 people. I don't have an HR background. I didn't then. And it was one of the most difficult things that I ever had to do. And that is one of the days that I really learned what empathy was. This was beyond my control. I was the representative on the project. The owner decided not to go forward with it. And I had no influence over the situation. But this was still my task for the day. And in talking to each of these people who were blindsided, they didn't see this coming, all of a sudden them being in a place where they didn't know what was next. It's kind of that, what's in it for me? What's going to happen to me? What's going to happen to my benefits? How am I going to take care of my family? Where's the money going to come from? How am I going to meet my bills? How am I going to pay my mortgage? Being empathetic allowed me to be with them in that discomfort while yet staying above it. And the reason that I had to stay above it is because if I went down into that mire with them, if I got into the emotions with them, then I was of no service to them. There was nothing that I could provide to them. And instead, my role was to stay above it and to really help them see and help them transition, give them the information that they needed to make good decisions, follow up with them when they were in a less emotional state, understand how they can be feeling this way. And it's not about fixing it. It's about being there to support them. And so, that was one of the biggest days that I really had a chance to embody that sort of empathy. And so thinking about some of the people that you work with, whether they report to you or not, what is it that they're going through? Where are they in their roles? Are they in a place where they have the skills and the traits to be able to perform it, or are they struggling a bit? So how can you have conversations with them to help see where they need to go and support them to get there, embodying that empathy? And so I want to give you 3 tips to help you build more empathy. And the first one is the most critical. The first one is listening. And oh my goodness, if I had $1 for every time I said this, listening is the biggest skill, communication skill that you can ever embody. And practice makes permanent. Okay. And so what I mean by this is that you have 2 ears, right? And you have 1 mouth. That's the ratio. Listening twice as much as you talk. So truly hearing what people have to say, being present with them, putting yourself in an environment where you're not being distracted by other things. Just being mindful, pulling your mind back when it goes wandering off, but being there with them and paraphrasing what it is that they say so that they know that they were heard. That is a huge skill that you can embody to develop this trait of empathy in your leadership, no matter what that leadership looks like. It doesn't have to be the C-suite. The second thing is to depart from your norm. How can you examine situations in a different way? How can you meet different people? How can you take yourself out of your comfort zone? Look at those things that you resist, that you don't want to go there. And that's exactly where you need to go. By exploring the different, by having that attitude of curiosity, of being willing to move beyond what is comfortable for you, can you begin to see other perspectives and then develop empathy as it relates to those other perspectives? So that's the second tip. And the third tip is to, allow yourself to feel. I think that in business, we tend to detach our emotions and tell ourselves that it doesn't have a place. And especially, women tend to be stereotypically, I know, more empathetic than men. And yet, sometimes as women rise into new levels and, supervising and managing, stepping onto boards, moving into leadership in the C-suite, sometimes they can leave their empathy behind, think that they need to toughen up. And the thing is that they're leaving a valuable skill that's inherent in them behind. And so spinning it in a positive way and allowing yourself to feel, maybe if it's in the privacy of your office or your car or your home, where you allow yourself to feel, connect with someone else and what they may be feeling, really understanding this situation from a different perspective and feel it. Especially if you think that you have been disconnected in your work environment or even in your home environment with a lot of things going on. So I hope these 3 tips help you to really lean into your empathy. So, listening and getting out of your comfort zone, taking a departure from the norm, and then tapping into your feelings to help explore what more empathy can mean for you. Maya Angelou had a quote, and I'll paraphrase it, and it was that everybody has empathy, but do you have the courage to show it? So with that, I wish you all the clarity and empathy that you deserve. And if you're a woman in leadership and you would like to really understand what may be holding you back that you are not aware of, I call these your blind spots. So as a woman in leadership, if you would like to know what it is that you don't know and how it's working against you so that you can actually do something about it, I invite you to attend a women's leadership masterclass being held on May 26th at noon. If this is something that you are interested in, then go to ideserveclarity.com and get your free tickets. Hop into the discussion. I would love to see you there. So with that, I'm going to say bye-bye for now, and we will see you next week. Take care.